Okay, my name is Jarrett Anthony Bennett. I'm from Roseboro, North Carolina, but I currently live in New York. But I'm back in North Carolina due to the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on. And Bill and I have done 3 shows together. The first one was Beauty and the Beast, then Ghost, which Bill actually directed, and then we were in Memphis together with CFRT.
You know, Ghost was your second time doing the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've done it already once before. Where did you do that one?
So I first did Ghost at the North Carolina Arts and Creative Theater in Raleigh, NRAC for short.
NRAC? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I did it with Temple Theater.
I didn't get a chance to come see that one up there, and I really wanted to because I wanted to see what you guys were going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because NRAC has such a really interesting little space because it's in like a mall storefront, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was very intimate because NRAC is it's like a small black box theater. So literally you have the stage, and then right in front of the stage, maybe like 2 feet apart, is where the audience is.
Yeah. First thing I saw there was 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Because I knew Curtis Brown was in it, and that's how I met Marty Soroy and also Dustin Britt, because they were playing the principals. And I didn't know any of the kids, but I knew Curtis because he'd been photographer for Theater Raleigh.
That is actually how I know Curtis, because I first met Curtis when I did Theater in the Parks production of Hair, and he was our photographer.
Oh, okay. I finally went to the Theater in the Park for the first time last month. Went to see The Old Man and the Old Moon. It's a beautiful, beautiful show. And Catherine Anderson, our music director for Ghost, was the music director for that. And they did such a lovely job. It's an odd little play, but I really loved what they did with it. It's kind of that Peter and the Starcatcher vibe where you move in between singer and actor and storyteller and puppeteer and all that sort of stuff. It's the kind of thing that I went to school for and would love to get to do again. I'm dying to do Peter and the Starcatchers one of these years. But so you grew up in Roseboro. So you did shows down in Laurinburg, in Lumberton. Is that right?
No, I actually did. Where I first started out outside of high school was this theater called Sampson Community Theater, which is right up the street in Clinton, North Carolina.
Okay.
That was the very first actual theater that I worked at outside of school.
Because I remember you had a whole fan group that came to see us in Memphis.
Yeah.
I'm trying to who all came up? It was John Kuntz and who else?
It was actually some kids from my old high school and my theater arts director, who is like one of my closest friends in my life. Every year she brings up kids to actually see productions that I'm in. And she has supported me. Her name is Angela Martin, by the way. And if she's watching, I appreciate you. She has supported me literally from day one, even getting me into William Peach University when I didn't know what I was about to do with my life. She was the person who actually created a reel for me and sent it off to the department at Peace. And they were done recruiting, but she sent it off to them, and the Lord blessed me with the opportunity, and I took it.
Very cool. What did you do at Peace?
So the very first show I ever did at Peace was a show called The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Oh, I love that show. Nobody does. I love it.
It's one of my favorite shows till this day. After that, I did Little Shop of Horrors, where I played Mr. Mushnick. Then I did the piano lesson when I was Boy Willie. Then after that, I did, I think I did Music Man when I was Harold Hill. Then American Idiot, I played Tunny. After that, I was in the ensemble for Kiss Me Kate. And then I was in Joseph for our final show of my college career, and I was Joseph.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I kind of doing academic theater because they get to take chances that we don't get to do in professional theater down here. Yeah. You have to sell tickets. That's one of the conversations that Peggy Taphorn at Temple and I have on a regular basis is trying to balance out what shows we can get away with doing for ourselves versus what shows we can actually get people to come and see.
Precisely.
So, to do some stuff that's really challenging and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you play in Drood?
So I was actually, can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was actually a part of the ensemble in The Mystery of Edwin Drood. I didn't really have many lines. That was my first time being an ensemble role. So just going from being the lead in community theater shows to being a part of the ensemble in collegiate shows, it was different, but I've always been the person that believes you got to start somewhere. You can't learn how to lead if you're always the leader. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and it's a challenge learning how to blend in with the groups.
Very much so.
That was my very first professional show out of college. I was the stage manager for The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And by that, I mean the actual stage manager, not playing Bazzard, the stage manager. I auditioned for the show and tanked the audition. But my best friend in college, her roommate had been a regular there for 4 or 5 years. And she talked the artistic director into hiring me anyway. And I hated them all because I wanted to be on the stage, not backstage doing all of the work. And it was one of those.
But you got to be a part of it, though.
25 college kids all partying in an apartment over there. And I was setting up for rehearsal the next day and grumbling and complaining the entire time.
Listen, that's the price you pay sometimes.
I know. Well, it taught me a lot because I hadn't done a lot of technical theater at that point. I'd done a little bit of community and a little bit of high school and college stuff, but I'd never done backstage work. And all of a sudden you find out what all those people that don't get on stage are doing and how hard that job is for no applause. And it teaches you when you're going to direct, you know how to talk to the rest of the crew and the lighting people and everything else. And that's part of the stuff that I finally got to learn. But I hated it that summer. So you did a bunch of shows in high school in Roseboro. And then what was the first thing you did over at CFRT?
So the very first show I actually did at CFRT was when they did their production of Dreamgirls. And I was straight out of college. And I literally graduated in May. Then I did Dreamgirls in August.
Okay.
So it's literally college into that. And I was a part of the ensemble, which was perfectly fine. But that's where I met my good friend, Gerard Williams. I got to meet people from New York that I had never met before. And to this day, we're still very close. Like, we literally just had a Zoom chat with all of us 2 days ago.
Yeah. I saw that show. I brought a bunch of I was teaching at Methodist University that summer, or that spring. And I brought a bunch of my kids, and for 3 of those kids, it was the first time they'd ever seen anything live on stage. And they went crazy about the show. And speaking of crazy, was drunken drag queen from New York who sat behind me and screamed, "Get it," like Effie sang. "I am changing." "Yeah, girl, you change." And I'm like, "Would you try to hear the show?"
I think I remember that show because we were backstage just crying at it.
Yeah, there was. It was either a friend or a fanboy of Effie's that had come down from New York to see the show and was in full on like RuPaul drag sitting behind me, and they had clearly been out having a good time for dinner. But there was some screaming going on that night.
Listen, I remember that because I was I played a part of the ensemble character who I can't remember his name, but he was the actual piano player for I'm Changing. So I'm on stage and I'm hearing that, and I'm just trying to stay focused, trying not to laugh. But as soon as I got backstage, I just had to let it out. It was so funny.
Yeah. We had a couple of Memphis moments like that where people kind of were going with it a little more than we expected.
Man.
The Red Hat night was an interesting one.
Yes.
I got to say, I love it when the Red Hat ladies come to see our shows because they are living a life of their own, and they're going to share it with everybody on stage. So it's always kind of fun.
And sometimes we need that, especially after like long shows.
Yeah. And that Memphis was a hard one. You know, my part, I just came on and yelled at people and then left again. And then you guys had to dance for 30 minutes, right? And then I would come on and yell at somebody again and then leave again. But that was a hell of a show. The stamina that the dancers in that show. I know Lauren just had an interview with Matt, who was Huey in that one, and I got to see him while he was doing Bandstand out in Phoenix while I was out there doing a show.
Oh, okay.
Several of my cast members and I had the night off, so we jumped in a car and went downtown and watched them at the I can't remember what it was called, but the big one of the old like vaudeville style theaters from the 1920s out there, and it was an absolutely gorgeous show. And that boy just never stopped moving on that stage.
That sounds about right.
Left the stage except for like one scene in the bar at the beginning before he came on.
That sounds like, man,
it takes. So all right, let's see what now I got to come up with something brilliant to keep this conversation going on. What's your favorite show that you've ever done, either here or out on the road?
My favorite show that I've ever done? Oh, that's tough. I really would have to say Dreamgirls, just because the cast was so tight. We were so tight knit. Like, even, you know how sometimes when you're in a production and you run for a while and you see people on stage, like once you come to work, everybody's cool, but after work, you go by your own separate ways. Nah, when we were in Dreamgirls, like we would hang out before the show, after the show, 3 days after the show, off days. Everybody was just, we were so connected in different ways, and we found different areas in the show to really connect with each other. So I would say Dreamgirls.
Did you catch back up with them once you moved to New York?
They were actually the very first people that I met up with once I moved to the city. I actually lived with Natalie, who was our Effie. She's my roommate. So we're still very
absolutely astounding.
Yeah,
she was so good.
We're still very close to this day.
So when did you finally move to New York? Right after Memphis, right?
So I moved to New York on June the 21st. And I was only there 4 months before God presented an opportunity for me to do this production of The Color Purple. And when I went to the rehearsal, I was like, I mean, I'm not doing anything else. I don't have a job. So I moved up here to do musical theater and pursue a Broadway career. So why not do what I'm supposed to do? So I went to the audition, and I started getting callback after callback after callback. Mind you, this is the first time I've ever had to go through multiple callbacks over a period of time before I book a show. So this was a new experience. And that I would just remember that last audition, the last callback, I remember being outside talking to God, like, you know what? You put me in this position, and if they want me, they're gonna cast me. That's what I went in with. And I did the material, presented it well, and I would say 3 days later, I got a call saying that I booked the show. So I have literally only been in New York for 4 months before all of this.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But it helps to have some talent and to look like that. Did you wear your shirt during the audition?
I did. I wore a tank top, though.
Of course you did.
Because my roommate was like, she showed me, I had never seen The Color Purple. I had only seen the movie and heard the music. And she had seen the show multiple times. She was like, she literally told me what to wear, because she said in the show, the guys wear a lot of tank tops. So go in there with a tank top on, black slacks, and shoes. And that's what I did. I wore that same outfit to every callback.
Well,
Did not change.
Yeah.
Did not change.
Well, they always told me you're supposed to wear the same outfit for every callback anyway, just so they know the guy in the red shirt is the one that they called back.
Yep, that's exactly. I was the guy with the black tank top on. That was me. That was me.
How many callbacks did you end up with?
4. I went through 4 rounds, which that was a new experience because I had never done that before.
Yeah. Well, they don't get the luxury of doing that very much with regional theater. It's if you're lucky, you get a call back and then you go from there. Lauren says Gerard is watching, by the way. So hi, Gerard.
Hey, Gerard.
So good. Now I know he's watching. You get to tell tales on your roommate from the tour. What's the craziest thing that happened to you two on tour?
I remember. So there was one time, right? We got to the hotel at like maybe 3, and we had to get to the theater at 5. But we literally only had time to put our stuff down and go to the theater. Gerard, there was a Chick-fil-A across the street, but you couldn't just like walk across the street. You had to run. So me and Gerard was like, hey, there's Chick-fil-A across the street. He looked at me. I looked at him. I said, hey, we gonna make it. Gerard and I literally ran across like an 8-lane hall, an 8-lane.
You're playing Frogger to get to Chick-fil-A?
Yes. We went across an 8-lane highway to get Chick-fil-A. Now, mind you, coming back from Chick-fil-A, we had to run again. Stuff falling all out the bag. My bag is specific because I had like 5 orders from everybody else. I just wanted to be lazy. But it is what it is. Listen, Gerard not made that run because Chick-fil-A is important.
I've also got Joyce Hawkins is saying, yay for Dream Girl. She loved that opportunity.
Hey!
I remember the first tour I got to do was Footloose. Mm-hmm. And that was the 10th anniversary tour of the Broadway show. And the only reason I got it is because I had an audition for something else in the building that afternoon.
That's how
I had 3 hours to kill. I figured, okay, I'll go in for it. There's nothing in this show for me. I'm not going to play the Reverend, and I'm not going to play a kid. So, and I went in, and they called me back, and I was like, wait, for what?
Yep. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, and they read me literally. They kept me for 7 hours and read me against like 13 girls. And I think it was because the guy they wanted to cast for Reverend Shaw was out of town and couldn't be back. But they were going to maybe use me, and I was just the understudy for that part. 6 months on the road, never went on, but we had a good time, and it was a great show.
It happens sometimes.
So I'm trying to think, where was I going with that? I have no idea. How many stops did you guys make? You were out for what, 4 months?
Mm-hmm. No, 4 if you don't count the layoff we had for the holidays.
Okay.
But like 6 months in total. So.
Were you doing a lot of one-nighters, or did you sit down for weeks, or?
Yes, like majority of our tour route was a lot of one-nighters. The only time we really had like a sit down for a while was in Texas. Was partially because we were in different parts of Texas for like weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. But everything else, one-nighter. Sometimes we had a 3-nighter, and that was in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Oh, it was so cold.
Yeah.
Ooh, that in Sioux Falls. I've never been in negative temperature during the daytime until we went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I remember my girlfriend and I, they had this big tourist attraction called the, I guess it's called the Falls. Well, the falls were frozen. And she's like, take this picture. Mind you, I give her my gloves so she can wear them. My fingers is like this. Like, Bill, it was so cold, her phone went off. And she had a full battery.
Oh God.
I said, I'll never go back to Sioux Falls. Not in the winter. It has to be in the summer.
We played the Fargo Dome the year of the flood.
Mm-hmm.
So literally they were barricading the doors with bags of sand.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most bizarre thing to do. Did you guys play many like big arenas and stuff? The Fargo Dome, we had both of the tour buses and 2 18-wheelers inside behind the stage, and still the cast had room to play football behind it. It was bizarre playing in a space that big.
I would say the biggest arena we went to, I could really only think of 2, and which would be New Orleans, where we opened, and when we were in the Foxwoods Casino. The casino was actually pretty large. Like, that was the first time I ever seen a theater inside a casino.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of space. It was, we weren't cramped up. Now, some theaters, we was cramped up. But in the casino, nah, everybody had room.
We did one show that was so small that the band played in the 18-wheeler outside, and they had to pipe the music in.
My God.
Because they had no place for the band to sit. We were doing shows with folding tables and chairs, and the set stayed on the truck because we were booked into a space that's small. It was the first time that company had taken their tour out. So, Gerard said that you forgot to mention that you were in boots while trying to run across.
Yes, listen, full-fledged cowboy boots. So all you hear is clack, 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 running across an 8-lane highway.
So how many people do you have in your cast? Full on bus, or did everybody get their own seat? Or because I know how important that is.
Well, we had two buses. The crew went on a sleeper bus because a lot of times, since we had a lot of one-nighters, they would unload and load out, load in, load out, and then after the show, they would just go, after loadout, they go straight into the next venue. So yeah, that bus, but our bus, everyone had their own seat. So I would say
we had to share seats, and that always sucks. Were you a seat sleeper or a floor sleeper? And we'll explain that to those who haven't done a tour yet.
I wish I would have been a floor sleeper, because sleeping in the seat, like Bill, when I tell you my mouth was always open, like I was asleep like every time. And I wish that I would have slept on the floor just so no one could take pictures. Because
are there a lot of pictures on the internet of you going?
Yes. Whenever everyone else is asleep, I'm up.
Yeah.
But as soon as I fall asleep, I don't care if it's for 20 minutes or maybe 10. Somebody got a picture. Quick. I felt like they was plotting on me. I really feel like I was being plotted on.
Well, I started out as a seat sleeper, and then I ended up in one of the foam crates. For those who haven't done a tour like this, you have the option of either trying to lay across all 4 seats with your legs across the aisle, or crawling under the seats and going across the aisle on like a foam roll-up. And most people will go and buy like an egg crate, roll it up, and shove it under their seat until it's time for one of the 10, 12, sometimes 16-hour drives. There were days where you were up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting to the theater at 6 or 7 that night. Or did you have any just travel days where you were literally on the bus all day just to get back on the bus to finish the drive?
Yeah. We had a few days like that, but it was never like we wake up no earlier than 7 o'clock, bus call at 8. We never had anything that was earlier than 8 o'clock. But I remember
we had a lot of 4 o'clock. We had a lot of 4 o'clock bus calls. But we had a really bizarre. I think they added it up, and it was over 250,000 miles, because some of the plotting was really stupid. Like Texas, Wisconsin,
tell me about it.
California, and back
about it. Yes. No.
Sometimes you just kind of get stuck with that's the next person that wants to book the show, so there it is. It's the only time
our route was really weird, like really weird. I remember we were in Dayton, Ohio. We were left there to go to another city the next day. Then after that, we went right back to Akron. So I was like, why didn't we just stay in Ohio? But whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't book the tour. I just ride. That's it. I just get on the bus.
So what was your favorite city? What did you, outside of the theater space, I mean, did you get any golden days and get to go do fun stuff?
I would say we actually did not have a lot of golden days because we had so many one-nighters. Yeah. I would say my favorite city, San Antonio. San Antonio was different. Knoxville too. Knoxville, Tennessee was really interesting. That was the first time I had ever held like a live snake.
Why? Okay, there's backstory here. Let's go back here.
All right. So here's the story. Me and my girlfriend went on our very first like date. And
okay, wait. Was the girlfriend in the cast? Is that how you all met, or?
Yes. Okay. So
right.
She was one of the church ladies, but she also understudied Sophia.
Okay.
So we went on our first date there, and I remember just going to the zoo, because we went to the Knoxville Zoo, and one of our tour guides, she kind of took us behind the scenes, but we really weren't supposed to be back there. And I remember telling my girlfriend that I had never held a snake. So I don't know I went to the bathroom, and then I come back, and the tour guide was like, all right, I'm about to go get another one of our animals. And I'm like, all right. So we seeing all these small turtles, because before I went to the bathroom, and showing us like small turtles and tortoises. So I'm like, okay, she about to bring out this ginormous tortoise. No. She brought out this snake, and the snake name was Mr. Twister. And the story was she called it Mr. Twister because the snake would like to wrap around and get up under her shirt where it's warm. And in my head, I'm like, nah, dog. I'm not about to hold no snake. Lo and behold, she talked me into it. And I held the snake. It wasn't that bad. So Knoxville definitely has a place in my heart.
And two fangs. Mm-hmm. So you could just get a little tattoo of two fangs right there on the chest.
Oh, no.
Well, I haven't been in San Antonio in a long time. Did you all end up down on the Riverwalk?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so beautiful down there.
It was beautiful, but I didn't think it was going to be as cold as it was because, mind you, it's like New Year's. So we're on the way.
When did you guys start? November? Is that right?
No, we started in late October going into November. So like the week before, a couple of days before Halloween, we opened.
Okay. Where'd you guys do tech in the opening?
We did tech in Largo, Maryland, but we opened in New Orleans at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. New Orleans was
a bad place to open Color Purple.
It wasn't. It was packed almost every night. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, I'm in the back, so I don't really see the audience like that. But the only time I got to actually see the venue, even though we were there for a while, was when I was on stage running Fight Call and everything like that.
Oh, were you the fight master as well?
Yeah, I was the dance captain and fight captain.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, it was my first time doing that too. So this tour has been a lot of firsts for me.
Yeah. But I mean, to go into your first tour and be the fight captain and the dance captain is pretty impressive. Yeah.
You're doing something right. Something.
So what are you doing now while you're home? Because you're staying here in North Carolina for now.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually
busy besides push-ups.
Honestly, just staying healthy, working out when I can, making sure my mental health is very, very, very much in a place where it should be, and I'm not staying in my head a lot. I actually picked up photography. I'm taking some classes on that, actually online. So I have a Canon now, so trying to pick up some new habits while I'm here.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
You're staying with your folks. How are they doing? Everybody's healthy.
Yeah, they're doing really well. My parents and I actually, now that I'm older, we talk a lot more. And I'm really grateful for the relationship that my parents and I have, because I'm at the point now where I feel like I can literally go to them about anything. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't always like that growing up.
Well, yeah. I mean, for a long time, you're their kid. And it's always it was weird for me when I moved back to North Carolina after almost 10 years in New York. But I got to spend time with my parents while we were both adults.
Yeah, it's different. But
before Dad started having some problems and Mom was in great health, and I got to spend time as an adult human being with my parents instead of being their child. I got to be a friend, which is kind of a gift in itself. Yeah, okay, man. Lauren asks, for folks who don't know, what does the dance captain do?
Okay, so the dance captain, for a show like this, you literally have to know everyone's position at all times. Just in case, let's say one of the principal characters goes out and a cover has to go on. The dance captain will come in and make sure that that cover knows exactly where they're going and the track they're supposed to be doing.
And how do you organize that? How do you organize that? And then how did they teach you how to organize it, or did you just have to jump in with both feet and go for it?
So I actually learned from the previous fight captain from the Equity Tour, which went out. And she came in, and she was also the fight captain for the Broadway production. So I watched her and learned from her. And she told me that my job was, outside of the stage manager and the director and the co-director, my job is to know the show in and out. Just in case something goes wrong, I will be able to fix it.
Cool. Okay. What was your regional experience on shows like Memphis do to prepare you to be a dance captain? Working with Eleanor Scott and with Megan Chiper, who I have to say is probably the most organized dance captain I have ever seen in 30 years.
Megan too. Megan and I have had plenty of chats while we were both on tour about what was expected of me and how to go about that. I would say working on very dance heavy shows, it really prepares you for anything, because you have to learn how, it's kind of like an audition. You got to learn how to pick up quickly. But while you're learning, you have to know that you have to learn how to teach, really. Because there were times when, for example, we had our original Nettie, she left the tour maybe 2-3 weeks after we opened because she booked Hamilton. So we had to bring in another Nettie. And my job was to make sure that I had to teach her basically where she was going and when she enters and exits and all of that. But it really prepared me. It also taught me how to be patient. Because if you're working on a dance heavy show, I have patience, but I don't have a lot of it. But this tour has taught me how to be patient.
And Megan, I guess, is dance captaining for Waitress when they go back out on the road.
Yeah.
So did you guys cross over much while you were in New York together, or did she get to New York, I guess, after you left already?
She got to New York after we left. But this is the thing. They would play certain venues before we would get to them. So we would always see posters of like Waitresses here, or they see posters that the color purple is here. So we'd really cross paths without seeing each other.
I remember on our tour that we were following Sally Struthers in Nonsense everywhere. It was very strange because It was just one of those things. And I finally got to meet her and told her that we had followed her all over the country at one point. I actually, when we were doing a couple of tours, I kept seeing Peggy's autograph on the wall.
Yep.
And I started hunting it down when I knew where we were going to be playing. We were playing the Fox Theater in St. Louis, and her autograph for Little Women was on the dressing room right across from my hall. So I was taking pictures and sending them back to her.
Yeah, we did a lot of that. I had a few friends on the I think it was the 20th anniversary tour of Rent, and we would see like their posters and sign autographs and signatures and everything like that, and we'd take pictures and be like, "Oh, we see you. Just letting you know we here and we appreciate you." So we did a lot of that.
Yeah. You guys were scheduled to play the DPAC about the time that everything kind of went down.
Yeah.
How bad was it?
I still haven't gotten over it. I'm gonna just be honest, because it's a certain feeling you get coming back to a place you grew up going to see shows. Mind you, the DPAC is where I saw my very first national tour when Wicked came around. And just the feeling of knowing that I would get to play that venue and maybe be on the stage if somebody called out. And just to see, mind you, I had like opening night at that theater, I had close to maybe 100, 150 people coming. And that's just me. Gerard knows everybody, and I know he watches still. Gerard knows everybody in the world. So I know he had a lot of people coming. And then also another one of our church ladies, she had people coming as well. So finding out.
North Carolina person, or was she just Southern in general, or?
No, she was a North Carolina person. So the people from North Carolina, we actually have
3 out of 30 cast members from North Carolina. We must be doing something right around here.
Yeah, and our wig designer, he's from Wilmington, so he got to be home, but he didn't get to be like home in Raleigh or RDU because he actually went to St. Augustine, which is in Raleigh.
Right.
So I think that's the most.
How much time did you have? How long did it? I can't even say that out loud. How much warning did you have that wasn't going to happen?
Not long, because we found out through the governor of Raleigh that the state was in a state of emergency. And after that, we were like, okay, so maybe you start to get that mindset, but you still have that thought in the back of your head. And I was like, man, if y'all gonna shut it down after Durham. Because I just want my family to see that I'm really making the dream come true. But God had different plans, and now we're here.
Well, you're going to go back and you're going to hit the audition season. You got anything? Are you auditioning for stuff by video, or are you doing like?
It's all video.
Like that?
It's all self-tape.
It's hard to do musical theater as a self-tape, but people are doing it, and I'm guessing hopefully booking.
Listen, self-tapes are hard, mainly because I'm very, very critical about myself, and I'm also self-conscious, and I deal with being in my head too much because I like to think, okay, this don't sound right. Never mind, it just ain't it.
Yeah.
And I talk myself out of things a lot. So self-tapes are very difficult to do.
Yeah. I've skipped out on a couple of film auditions because I can't stand the thought of taping myself and have to edit it down to send to somebody. So
man, I hate how I sound recorded.
Roles that I just haven't submitted for.
Yeah.
There's one sitting on the back burner that has to be in by next Sunday. So tomorrow I'm supposed to be doing it with a friend of mine who's going to play my reader by phone. So
By phone. That's tough.
Well, yeah, they want somebody to do it with a reader, so I'll put her on the phone next to the camera and just try and do it opposite her and see how it goes.
I feel you. I get that.
Add on top of that it's supposed to be a German accent, and I'll be having lots of fun. Okay, so how many shows did you guys do when COVID started percolating through the grapevine? I mean, you went back out in January after break, right?
Uh-huh.
Did it start hitting your radar that things were going wrong?
When the NBA shut down, that's when it happened. When they started,
you know who you're talking to. When was that? Because I am not a sports person. You might have noticed.
So they shut the NBA down like a week after the All-Star game, which is like late February. And that's when I really started to think like, okay, it's getting real out here. It's getting real out here. But we still went to Miami, and Miami was wide open. I mean, they had a curfew, but it was completely fine. The beaches were open and everything.
Were they blocking your stage door? I know that Matt said that for the last week of their tour, they were not allowed to stage door their audience. You guys
couldn't.
That same situation that you went straight to the bus and went home?
Yeah. That literally was it. Like, you go do the show, make sure you wash your hands. But as far as like meeting the audience, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Did anybody in your cast come down with it? Have you heard anybody?
No. Everyone has stayed in good health. But we were very hard on each other because no one wanted to catch it. So we really held each other accountable. Yeah.
Footloose, we got one person in the cast got the winter plague. This is 10 years ago, so it wasn't anything dangerous, but it just went up and down our cast, down that bus like 3 times. Everybody got it, and then they get over it, and then they get it back again because it was just a nasty cold that ran through the entire cast. And in that show, the adults don't do anything. It's kind of the same thing as Mr. Simmons. We come out and say, stop doing that. We leave, and they do that for a while. And then we come back out and say, don't do that again. But the kids were just going, really just dropping out right and left. Our company manager ended up having to go on a couple of times because she was a dancer before she had taken over the job as the company manager. We've got a question. How do you think this is going to affect stage dooring once shows go back on the road?
I do feel like for a while, the stage door rule will apply. When they came up with that, I don't think that's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Just for the safety of.
At the very least, it's going to be a mask and glove for a while.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's going to be awful. Can you take a picture with me?
Yeah.
That was the star's eyes. I could see that much.
Yeah. I mean, we even had rules where if we were to sign autographs at our own discretion, we had to use our own pen. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't signing any autographs. I leave, come out the stage door, right on the bus. I'm not taking any chances. Mainly because as a swing, you have to really make sure that you're healthy. Just because somebody else goes down, you can't go down either.
Yep. So what inspired you to do this in the first place? Why did you decide you wanted to be an actor? The question that everybody's parents always ask them.
Every time. And honestly, my answer is always the same. When I was in high school, my junior year, I actually wanted to be, believe it or not, I wanted to be a band director. I did. But then after a while, I realized it wasn't for me. Then ironically, my school did a production of Mean Girls, and that was my very first show. And I just remember coming out as Jimmy Early, and no one besides like a group of friends, no one had really heard me sing. And when I started to sing and I saw how my voice impacted the audience, and I really started to get the character under my belt, that's when I realized, okay, this is what I want to do. Before that, barely knew what I wanted to do. Like I said, I wanted to be a band director.
What did you play in band?
So in high school, I played tenor sax for marching and concert band. But in middle school, I played the alto sax. Before I was drumming.
You're going to be an active musician who can pick it up and play it on stage?
No. If it's a saxophone, I can still read the music.
Mm-hmm.
But anything else, no.
I'm always envious of those people who kept it up. I played trumpet in high school and have not touched one in probably 25 years, except once to do a show where I had to play taps, which is 2 keys, and that's all you have to do. And I could manage that.
But see, I've also played drums like my whole life, but it's all been by ear. I've never had to play any type of percussion instrument when reading music. It's not the fact that I can't learn, because in our reality, if you need me, I'll learn it.
Yeah.
But I just never did that in high school.
Another question. What was your favorite track as the swing?
Ooh, okay. So, funny story.
Before you go there, how many times did you go on as swing?
11.
How many times swinging?
I went on 11 times. So, my favorite track was Bobby. And my favorite track was Bobby because it was the hardest track. And Bobby and I share a very special relationship. And here's the story why. So my first time ever going on was for Bobby within literally 5 minutes. So I forgot where we were at. We had already done the prayer circle. Stage manager already said, all right, places. And a light cue letting us know that it's time to go on. The stage manager had turned the light on. As soon as he turned the light on, one of our church ladies came running across. Something wrong with our Bobby. And I had that look on my face like, yep, here we go. Mind you, I had never rehearsed Bobby on stage, ever. And Bobby has the hardest chair moves in the show. So when it happened, I literally
talk about the chair moves for a minute, because I didn't get to see the tour. So what do you mean by the hardest chair moves? So
really there is no choreography in The Color Purple besides Push the Button. And even that Push the Button is outside of Suge, it's all chair moves. So really outside of the principal characters, the chairs tell the story. Each chair has its own meaning. And those chair tracks are monstrous to learn. And even when we were in rehearsal, I remember when it was time for us to have like an understudy swing rehearsal, they had me do a split track with Pa and Buster, not Bobby. Not Bobby at all. So when I went on as Bobby, Bill, I don't think I had ever been so nervous in my life. Like during the opening number, we sit down in chairs and like I'm moving in a motion, right? You know, going with the show. Inside, I think that was the most unsure I had ever been about myself personally, because I had never had the chance to rehearse Bobby on stage with the chairs. And he has the most chair moves in the show. Literally, he does the most, he moves the most, and he plants the chairs wherever they need to go. And a lot of times, they all based on him. Like he starts the line. Mm-hmm. So once I got that first one under my belt, I was good. That was good.
Any moments of shove with love? No, honey, you got to go that way.
Listen, that first performance, it was all shove with love over there. over there. And mind you, it's in the middle of the show. Just move over here, move over there. But every time myself and all other swings went on, the principal characters were right there behind us. Yeah. Like everybody was so encouraging. And this really was just like if you got that first number under your belt, after you've been rehearsing it for a while, you feel more secure. But before then, oh no, you shaking in your boots, man. Literally, because
at least they didn't give you any time.
Literally,
at least you got like a half an hour to freak out and not enough time to really study, but just enough time to get nervous.
Yes.
5 minutes is like, okay, I just got to do this, and here it goes.
No, literally, that's what it was. I was like, all right, well, here we go.
So when you head back from New York, what shows do you want to hit up to audition for? I mean, assuming that everything is going to come back open, what do you want to do next?
Oh, it's a list. Well, it's not really a list. It's like a few.
Always a list, because as soon as you've gotten one, you got 3 more coming up.
Yeah. Ain't Too Proud for sure. The Lion King, Wicked, Hadestown. And I know a lot of those because I'm not equity yet. Keyword on yet.
Yet.
I have to do the 9 to 5 or sometimes 6 to 5 thing of waiting all day. And I'm prepared. I understand that's part of the business is what you have to do. Everyone goes through it. So those for sure.
Have you met Felicia Pearl? She's from
No.
Raleigh.
I have not.
I think she went to, I don't know where she went to school, actually. She and I did Parade together, and she was doing the national tour of Lion King, and I think she hit Broadway for a while. I'm not sure.
No, I don't know her.
She's a Raleigh girl. She's amazingly talented, of course. North Carolina actress, of course they are. Lauren is going dream roles, dream shows. MJ musical. You want into the Michael Jackson show?
I know myself personally. I need to become a far better dancer to be in that show. And I know where I'm at, and I know I have work to do. But I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it because Michael Jackson is one of my favorite performers of all time. So I'm definitely going to see it. But as far as dream roles, I would say David Ruffin in Ain't Too Proud. Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. Simba in The Lion King. Bach in Wicked. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and Burr in Hamilton.
All right, well, when you get Bach, then tell them to hire me as Dillamon.
Got you.
Because that's the only part in that show that I'm right for. Put a goat mask on me and I can do that. I'll think, odd.
I believe it.
Okay, let's see, what else? So we know the Color Purple is not, are they talking about maybe remounting it again later on, or are they just going to let it go for now?
No, I think they're just going to let it go for now.
Which production company was that with?
Troika Entertainment.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Any word on what they're going to look at for coming up next year or anything? Have you heard through the grapevine?
I haven't heard anything like outside of our show. I know they were doing Escape to Margaritaville, and that was like the first national tour of that. But I don't know what they're going to do. I guess it all depends on when things pick back up to normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we keep hoping at some point.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, we're heading into the end of the hour, so here's some obnoxious fan questions for you, because I did some Googling and asked for obnoxious fan questions. Let's go for where on tour did you not get to go that you really wanted to? I mean, aside from Deepak, obviously.
Ooh, I would say St. Louis. St. Louis for sure.
Okay.
Because we rode.
When you get to St. Louis, and you will,
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Taphorn's family is from there, so look them up.
Oh, okay.
B, go to the museum there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the City Museum. It's it's like a gigantic, bizarre playground, and it's amazing. We
Okay.
had a golden day there when we were doing the Christmas Carol tour, and we all took off. And they've got like 4-story jungle gym with an airplane stuck in it, and various strange things. It's the most bizarre museum and very cool. Okay, who's the messiest person you know? And if you say Gerard, he's still listening.
Nah. Gerard is my dog. Like when you say messy, what do you mean?
Well, I don't mean personal life unless you want to go there, but I mean, who's the biggest slob you know? And don't say me.
Now, honestly, man, I don't know many. I believe in surrounding yourself with people who are a reflection of you. I won't say I'm a neat freak, but I would say I don't like things to be dirty. Like, I'm the type of person, before I leave the house, my bed has to be made. That's me. That's me. I've been like that since I was young. Bed has to be made and the dishes have to be done. I just don't like coming home to a dirty environment. Because then, if you bring someone home, you dirty. That's where you live is a reflection of you.
I'm married. I'm not bringing anybody home.
I'm just saying, like, automatically. You don't want people, even if it's just like a friend or your coworker want to come over later. You don't want them to think you dirty, because then.
That's true. Well, as I get older, I'm more interested in having the friendship than the clean house. But I try and balance it somewhere in there. It doesn't always get to. Did you get recognized when you were out on the street, any? Did anybody ever see you after the show when you did a lay down or a sit down? I guess as swing, it's harder to do that than it would be for some of the other cast.
Yeah. Our actual MD, Sarah, she came to one of the shows.
Sarah,
I think it was in Wisconsin, and her, myself, and Gerard, we all had like luncheon after the show. So I would say she's about the only one. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to what was the one thing you remember most about going out on the tour?
I would say the one-nighters, man.
Or top 3 if you want to. I don't care.
Okay. The one-nighters, the reception of the show from the audience. And just that feeling of when you get the call that you're about to go on stage and everything you worked so hard for behind the scenes, that's when you put it all together. Because as a swing, honestly, nobody really sees you until someone else calls out.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's probably the hardest job in the entire show. Because you've got to be ready to go on for 16 different things.
It is, man. It is.
And the boss lady's back. Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
Now, there's a show right there behind Lauren that I would kill to be in.
What, Come From
Away? I want
to
to do Come From Away so bad. I love that show. I fell in love with it.
Show. I could see you in that show, Bill.
There's some middle-aged guys in that one.
No, I could see you as like Kevin, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So Jarrett,
I'd also love to do Beautiful. I got to see that one when I was in New York the last time.
That's a good show.
With Melissa Benoit, the Supergirl, who I knew could sing because I knew she had done Glee, but I really didn't expect her to be quite as phenomenal as she was. And she just took the stage and was lovely.
Bill, I just remembered something. One other thing I remember the most about being on tour was teaching dance classes. That was the very first time I ever had done that. And I remember my first class, I was so nervous because it was my first time. But then as I spoke to the instructor of the course where I was teaching at, she told me literally whatever you present to them, they'll welcome you with open arms. And once I got the warm-up done, I was perfectly fine.
Did you get to do the class that was scheduled at Temple, or was it also another COVID disaster?
It was a COVID disaster.
We're going to get you back. You know that. We're going to have you come back.
Listen, I'll be glad to come back.
So Jarrett, Moses T. Alexander Green is saying he's proud of you. Edith is saying she saw The Color Purple at the first premiere in October, and she got to see you in Gerard.
She did. That's right. That's family. That's family.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you on TikTok?
I am not. I have refused to download TikTok. Refused.
Okay. I was asking you if you could, teach us some TikTok moves, but all right.
Oh.
I bet he's on the Instagram though.
I am.
He's young enough to be on Instagram. I'm too old to be on either one.
TikTok's not for me. That's too much.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a rabbit hole. Well, thank you guys for doing this. This was awesome. Jarrett, I don't know if I met you when I came to Memphis, and I don't
you
think
might have
after Ghost, right? I don't think so.
Now, mind you, I look totally different as now than I did in Memphis. Because in Memphis, I was clean shaved, cut hair. The tour made me grow this beard out, and I just haven't cut it ever since.
Well, I will see you on stage soon, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
On the other side. If you call me ma'am one more time.
I'm sorry. It's just how I was raised.
We're like a step away from Miss Lauren, and I'm going to kill you both. But I do want to thank you guys. This was awesome. And Edith wants to know what you're doing now. I think, Edith, he's just in quarantine like the rest of us, but are you staying healthy and fit? Are you still working out?
Yes, ma'am. I work out literally almost every day, sometimes twice a day. And I make sure I'm staying hydrated, I actually started taking up yoga, which is very important. And I hadn't been doing that on the tour, which was something I should have been doing, but being in quarantine really taught me to be prepared for everything, because when audition season hits again, it's going to hit hard and it's going to hit fast, and you have to be prepared.
Are you doing it online? Are you doing like Do Yoga with Me or one of those online yoga programs?
I use one of the apps. It's just like a yoga for beginners. I don't know the name of it, but if it's in the app store, it's like a purple app. That's the one I use.
All right. I don't really do yoga. Every time I try, my daughter just makes fun of me because they're just when I look at my phone and they're doing a position and I go, no, Mama said no. Body's not doing that.
That ain't it. I get you.
I used to have to lead some sun salutes and yoga stuff when I was teaching acting, but I haven't had to do it in probably. Oh, and we lost Jarrett.
No, I'm right here.
I was like, I know, he's cut this off.
I had to do it since probably Jarrett was born, so I'm afraid to try and do a sun salute anymore.
Well, this was wonderful. I'm really excited we got to chat with you, Jarrett. Now I kind of want to do a reunion with you and Gerard and get you guys maybe to interview each other. So Gerard,
I'm with you.
Watching.
You let me know. I'll tune in for that one.
I can hit you up. And I do want to put a plug in for tomorrow. So tomorrow we have two events. Another Cape Fear Regional Theater connection. Nick Pearson, who was in Shrek, he played Shrek. He's a good cook. He is cooking. He's quarantine cooking. And so he is going to be in the kitchen cooking dessert and sharing with us a recipe, and then we're going to be chatting about the theater. So join me for In the Kitchen with Nick tomorrow at 5. And
Cooking with
Shrek.
Disgusted.
We're going for the we're going for the variety of entertainment. And at 7, Susanna Huff is doing a one-on-one interview where she is going to be interviewing Ray Dooley. Ray Dooley just celebrated his 100th show at Playmakers, which is incredible.
Hey.
I can't wait to hear that interview. You guys will have to tune in for that. And that's at 7 tomorrow, right here on Facebook Live. So,
right.
Thank you guys for everything, and stay safe and healthy.
You do the same.
And I should.
If you find yourself in Sanford, come visit, Jarrett. You know where I am.
We'll do. I know where you are.
Stand in the yard and wave. We'll talk from a safe distance of 10, 12 feet, something like that.
Works for me.
Well,